Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Fratello Talks. I'm your host, Nacho. This week, I'm joined by my colleagues,
RJ
and
Morgan.
And we're going to be discussing the topic of cheap straps on expensive watches. So there's some varied feelings here, of course, and we'll get right into it, and also cover maybe aftermarket bracelets and all this. It's actually quite a topic to dig into. But of course, before we do that, what is on the wrist? RJ, what's on your wrist today?
Today I'm wearing my Rolex Sea Dweller. It's the 16600. I think mine
nice.
is from 1996. So it has the tritium dial in hands. And
So no loom.
Yeah, it doesn't loom anymore. A long time ago. So no, it's a great watch, and I like it.
It's really, really good. I mean, that's just a perfect dive watch from Rolex. You could go with a sub, but I think the Sea Dweller's that has that extra little bit
more
of
profi.
cool factor.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It costs less also. It also costs less on the
Not at
secondary
the
market.
time, but on the pre-owned market.
Yeah, on the
yes.
on the pre-owned market. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good tip for those looking for a brilliant dive watch.
If you want
from
a hardcore
Rolex.
diver, you get that one for less money than the sub.
Exactly. Perfect. And Morgan, what is on your wrist today?
My Speedmaster with the reference number that I don't know, but you guys know it probably.
Yeah, it's 3570.50.
Yeah, that one exactly.
No, yours is
No,
different.
no, it's not.
You have a later one.
Yeah. You have
see?
So it's 311.42. I don't know. A long number.
Yeah, see, even you don't know, man. I will never know it.
I don't even know my own phone number, so no. Numbers are
Who
too
knows
long.
their own phone number these days? It's all in the rectangle.
Exactly.
The rectangle thingy.
the
So yeah, on the
rectangle
NATO
thingy.
strap. Great NATO strap.
Perfect. Very, very nice. Is that a cheap? Is that a very cheap NATO? Is that an expensive NATO?
No, it's not an expensive NATO.
Okay, so you're on theme as am I, because I'm also wearing an expensive, relatively expensive watch on a relatively cheap strap, and it's my Omega Seamaster Professional 300M reference 2254.
And it's been a while since the last time you wore this one, because
It
now
hasn't-
the
no, it
FXD
hasn't.
is stuck on your wrist.
It really hasn't been that long. I wore it last week quite a little bit, and I just haven't worn it for the recordings of the podcast. But it's back, and But before we jump into the topic, we should actually address it this time. This will actually be your final podcast.
It
this
will.
time because
I mean-
I feel like I've been saying this for the last three times, but
You will not go away.
He won't. He won't.
Yeah.
No, I
Unbelievable.
try to sneak into every podcast I
Well,
can.
we try
before
to
leaving.
have you as much as we can while you're still around, but yeah, I think it's good to take a minute to just to thank you for all the work you've done for Fratello, and it's
You're welcome.
I mean, people have enjoyed the amazing pictures that you've taken for this last year and a half, and you'll definitely be sorely missed, and but if you're ever in town, you're welcome to come on the podcast and everything. So
for sure.
Hopefully in the future we'll cross paths again,
whether
in Geneva or on the island.
No, but I'm
knows?
sure we will meet again for I don't know
Absolutely.
what yet,
Absolutely.
but let's see.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Morgan. And let's jump into the topic. How do we feel about putting expensive watches on pretty cheap straps?
So it depends for me. I mean,
Here we
if
go.
it's a NATO,
Right
if
into
it-
the nuance.
If it's a NATO strap made out of textile or cotton or both of them or whatever, I think it's okay because, textile. If you buy the OEM NATO strap from Omega, you will pay a lot because maybe the hardware will be a little bit better, but the product itself will be the same as
No,
the
it's not
one.
the same.
Well, it's pretty much the same.
No, it's not. It's
but
the
is it like 10 or 100 times?
No,
maybe
of
not
course
100
not.
times more.
As always, there's a complete disconnect between the product and the price in the luxury industry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
yeah.
the quality between Tudor NATO, or that's not a NATO, the Tudor fabric strap and the Omega fabric strap are much better than the €5 or €10 NATOs that I see
That's
floating
true.
around.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Especially
there's
for
a lot
the
there's a lot in between. So I think you can go all sorts of directions there. And I'm a little bit more old-fashioned, so I see that nowadays you can match a nice Chanel bag with a shirt from Zara and a very expensive pants and cheap shoes again, or the other way around. That's completely done. Where I'm from, it is more about the entire surrounding. So if you have expensive shoes, you also have expensive trousers, expensive shirt, expensive this. So it is the complete package that is kind of how do you say it? It is the same, the same kind of standard.
It's coherent, right?
It's coherent.
Yeah.
And I guess these days that's different. You can mix and match expensive things with cheaper things and so on. But for me, there's another thing, and that is the sustainability and not so much of the product, because the watch is very sustainable and durable, but the production process. And I feel that if you buy a €10 or $10 strap, you know where it is being made.
Yeah, that's also true. I never
And
thought
I feel,
about
man,
that.
you're buying a €3,000 or €5,000 or €10,000 watch, but you buy a strap that's made by little Chinese hands somewhere. That's no good. That's what I feel about it. And the same goes for clothing. There are certain shops that they are these sweatshops in Bangladesh and I don't know where. And man, don't support that stuff. If you are in the position that you can afford a luxury product such as a watch, man, don't go down that path of where that stuff is being made. But also, it doesn't need to be a €300 NATO strap from Omega. That I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
But there are some alternatives. But I feel perhaps it's an obligation to try to find out where things are being sourced and how things are being made.
For sure. And I would say that there's also plenty of affordable options that are being made, well, the first example that came to mind is one that was being made. I don't believe they're being made anymore, but it's the NATO straps from Phoenix, which I think you could buy for maybe 10 to 15 euros, under 20 euros.
Yeah.
And those are fantastic. They're made by the original factory producing NATOs for the British military back in the day. So they were the first to do them. They were still making them to spec, basically to the military spec, almost the same material and the same hardware and everything. And those were affordable. And at the same time, they had this kind of cool factor to do with where they come from. Obviously, it's true that it's tricky to try and keep tabs on where things come from. Obviously, we with the Fratello shop, some of our NATO straps are sourced from somewhere in Asia, but of course we've been very careful in selecting the people who provide them and in working with people who we can have a bit of a rapport with and do some customizations to them so that they match our design. So
I think you need to be very careful with those things, and also quality. Aside from the whole production, I think it's also the quality that counts. And to me, it should be a bit on par. So if you have an expensive watch, and that can be everything from €1,000 to much more, I feel it needs to be a bit on par with that.
Yeah, it always looks better. I mean, I have an example. I mean, I have a bracelet, a steel bracelet that I can put on the Speedmaster that will mimic the original new bracelet from the Speedmaster.
Right.
It's never the same. I mean, when you have it on the wrist, it can make it a little bit, but when I compare to yours, for example, the feel on the wrist, everything, I get what you mean. It's just not the same.
But the price is also not the same. So it's also I think a very conscious choice from people. Hey, I'm okay with this cheaper bracelet, and I accept the fact that the finish or the feel is also not as nice as the original.
Yeah, but now I'm more or less. I'm even more the guy who will just buy way less things and save it to buy the good thing. And I will be so much happier having only one bracelet, for example, but that will probably last me forever, or at least I know it's the real deal. I know it's the real feel. I know it's made out of great material, design done perfectly, finishing perfect. I will enjoy that so much more than having dozens of bracelets, like cheap ones. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that take as well. In some way, though, it's also nice to be able to experience a change of look, of aesthetics for your watch. And a lot of brands like Forstner or Uncle Seiko, they do a pretty good job in making a product which, obviously, when compared to OEM standards, it's not there.
For sure.
Like you say, the price is also not there, but you can rely on it being at least of some quality, right? Like what I would never buy would be just one of these very, very cheap straight lug bracelets from eBay, because then you never really know. You don't know what kind of spring bars, what kind of pins are being used in there.
It's also tricky. And if the bracelet snaps, you will lose your very expensive watch.
That's the thing. True. So you're really playing with fire. So I feel that's why, in a way, affordable NATOs or cheap NATOs, even from the formerly known as cheapest NATO straps or CNS straps, like those can be pretty great, because you know that they're not going to fail. Especially with the latest ones, they have
already. So
they're stitched. They have a solid buckle. Where it's a solid bar, so it's no longer something with a spring bar inside, which is something that I tend to be a bit sort of hesitant towards in a NATO. I don't mind when there's a spring bar, but I prefer when it's just a solid piece of bent metal or just a fixed bar, because then you know that with a NATO you're as safe as can be. But then, going into other straps like rubber straps or leather straps, I think there is where I would personally hesitate much more in going for something cheap. I think there it's a case of buy once, cry once, but then you have a fantastic product that will really last you a long time. Yeah. It'll patina, it'll get better with age, and it'll get more comfortable. And I think really paying a little bit more there really gives you a lot in return.
Especially with leather strap, I think.
Yes.
The leather strap word, and you can do so much with it. Mm-hmm. You can customize it. I mean, ABP, l'atelier du bracelet parisien in Paris.
I had some made on like a custom made in Paris.
On the Breguet, yeah.
Yeah, I have some more, but it's really good service. It's quick turnaround and really proper product.
I mean, you pay quite a bit of money, but man, if you don't want to pay, I don't know, but in the end, $500, you can make
cheaper.
It like also cheaper
than the straps that come from brands.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I have some alligator straps from Omega, for example, that I bought a long time ago, but those prices these days are so high.
Yeah.
So there are quite some alternatives. I have to say they're quite good from Omega as well, but also from other brands. Sometimes they all come more or less from the same factories in France, I guess. But ABP in Paris is good. I think the straps that we have in our own shop, product placement, are also quite good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We
handmade in
really
Belgium.
made some effort there. So
and I
straps from Italy and straps from Belgium.
Yeah. The orange lining also is like unique, pretty much.
Yeah, it gives it a little extra detail, and of course we carry some that we did in collaboration with Atelier Romain. We have some of the accessories here, and those are the rally straps, which are absolutely fantastic.
And I have to say the fabric straps from Artem, they are really good.
They are solid. I had one on my Panerai. I used it all summer, and went diving with it, and it just felt completely solid. It took to salt water completely well, and it's still just a solid strap. No longer on my Panerai. Now it's on the Citizen ProMaster, but still, it's fantastic straps, very solid. The Hydroflex is really great, and we've compared it to some other hybrid straps, and they
do come at a price. They are not cheap, but they're also not cheap.
Yeah, but usually you pay for the quality. Usually you pay for the quality. It's the same for everything in life. I mean, if you want to be cheap, then you're probably gonna have to replace the product that you bought. Maybe in 2 years instead of 10 years. So then you do the math. It's like changing 5 times instead of 1 costs less money. Well, there you go. But if it's not the case, well, you might just buy the real deal in the first place and be done with it.
But you have these leather leather. They feel like cardboard, but they offer them for like, I don't know, 20 euros, 15 euros on eBay, and I really. Yeah, I would definitely stay away from those.
Yeah, back in the day, I've tried a number of those, and every time it's been just a decision that didn't end well. It's a strap that ends up in a box or in the bin directly, because it's not good.
And you won't enjoy wearing the watch if the strap, because on a watch, a bracelet or a strap is as important as the look of the watch for me. And I mean, if it's not comfortable on your wrist, you will not wear it.
Oh yeah, but there's also a lot of selection, right? If you check out Rios straps, Rios 1931. I think it's 1931. Or, for example, Finn watch straps out of Finland. They make fantastic straps. And the Rios ones are like 30 to 50 euros for a really great, like, classic 2-stitch with a good taper. Finn watch straps, they do a lot of custom, but also have some straps that they carry themselves. But there's a lot out there that compared to the OEM option, because that's the thing, like Artem, for example, they kind of come from trying to emulate the Blancpain OEM sailcloth strap, and that was kind of their bread and butter, and they offered those for around 80 to 90 euros. I'm sure the Blancpain one is you have to add an extra zero.
Yeah, they are very
expensive. It's probably like 300, more up to 600.
Yeah.
I mean, and you get the buckle with it and everything, but at the same time, it's one of those things. The OEM option, there's a certain satisfaction there as well to having the right buckle, to having the strap from the brand. I mean, on Omega NATOs, it says Omega on the hardware, right?
It does, yeah.
So there is that, but I think if you don't mind, you can definitely have a lot of fun. I think with NATO straps is where you can really make a difference. or you can really make an exception, and you get a lot for not a lot of money.
But for me, a 30 euros, you say 30 euros or 50 euros, man, that's so cheap for a leather strap because they make quite a profit.
Yeah, of course.
So the production cost is so low. So how can you provide something that is really good for that kind of money?
Yeah.
And that for me is a bit of a question. And then especially when you wear a, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 euro watch, don't be dependent on a 30 euro strap, I would say, of which the cost price is much, much lower.
Yeah.
But if it rips or tears, then you'll lose your watch.
I think I've changed in the past couple of years because my first watch, when I bought the Tudor Black Bay 41, the burgundy one, I had the bracelet and the NATO strap, which is made in France, which was and still is today for me the most comfortable NATO strap I ever worn.
That single
super
pass.
nice. It's amazing.
Loom woven.
And also, when I bought this watch, you had the huge box with it, and I even had 2 extra straps. So I had the bracelet, the black NATO, and the Velcro,
right?
the double Velcro. If I go to space one day,
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the case. But now, when you have the new Speedmaster, the box is like half the size of the other one.
But that's better.
Yeah, I mean, because the big box doesn't. Yeah.
You will
But you don't have. Do you have still the loop and stuff?
That I don't know. I have the smaller box from the current Speedmaster, but you still get a large box with the caliber 321.
Okay.
That has all the stuff inside.
But because, with the Speedmaster, I have the OEM NATO strap, another Velcro strap, and the bracelet. So I think it was nice also because if I want to buy the NATO strap separately, it's the black one, the classic one. I don't know how much it is. Like
200
something.
200 like
something, But I'm happy to have it, you know.
So here's another question. How about when the OEM strap is no good? There's plenty of brands out there where, and we could mention some names. So Seiko,
well,
for example.
I don't know if the quality of the Seiko straps are bad. I think they're just often ugly and too long
and a bit stiff. I think a lot of the time you get these leather straps, which they look okay. They're nicely stitched and maybe they're a little bit shiny. That could just be a taste difference, something that's like a cultural difference there.
Noisy.
But
like,
they're a bit
like
squeaky.
When you turn it.
But they're really sort of not the most comfortable to wear. But there's a handful of brands out there that do deliver watches with straps where you think, well, I don't know. I mean, the Nomos one is very divisive. The Nomos Shell Cordovan strap. You either love it or hate it. The shiny leather. Now they offer a lot more options, like a 2-piece nylon and these suede straps from Fluco, I believe.
The suede one are nice.
Yeah,
and I like the 2-piece nylon also.
No, those are nice. Good. So, for example, the current Snoopy from Omega with the blue strap.
Oh yeah,
that strap is so incredibly stiff. It's well made. It's nicely made. It's so stiff that it becomes uncomfortable.
And you have to wear it for a month.
No, it doesn't break in.
Oh wow,
I have mine for a few years now. It doesn't break in. So I switched it to the Artem strap, and that one is just nice and soft.
And you put the Omega buckle on it.
I didn't even do that, but you can
because that's the thing with Omega. It's also nice because you can buy a strap, a bracelet, or whatever and you can choose to buy the buckle or not. So let's say you have like the Silver Snoopy Award, and you want to buy just another strap for it, like a leather strap. You can only buy the strap and put your own buckle that you had with the watch.
Yeah, that I always do. Normally, but
I think that's nice because they are like, you don't need the buckle if you have one already. So you can also choose to only buy the thing. So I think it's nice from them.
No, with the Artem, I have the one that with the
folding, with the deployant,
deployant clasp, and the Snoopy normally comes with the tank buckle, the last one. Okay. But it's strange because the black strap that came with the second Snoopy, that 2015,
was, like the white
super
one,
nice. It's soft. It's very different from the blue one, so that's a bit strange.
Maybe they changed suppliers, or they made it. I think brands also a lot of the time these straps are perceived as stiff and uncomfortable because they try to make them longer lasting. If it breaks in, it's like a pair of boots. If there's a break-in period, maybe it gives you an impression that it's going to be a bit longer lasting. Certainly, like a good pair of shoes could be a bit stiff, and then as you break into it, then it lasts a little longer. But at the same time, I find in my experience that leather straps, especially if you have them on a pin buckle, from bending them to take them off and put them on, unless you're very careful, they are going to wear out over time, and that's going to happen. But so we have varying opinions. We kind of draw the line at varying degrees in terms of how much we spend on straps. But we see brands now doing things like using odd strap lug widths. Right, so we see brands like Tudor going for 21 millimeter lugs. Blancpain, I think, has 23 millimeter lugs. There's even into like decimals. Cartier, I think, does 20.5 and 21.5, something like that.
That is really annoying.
I think for a very long time you saw 17 and 19 millimeter with Jaeger and with Patek already.
And Tissot does 19.
And, so I think that's more or less standardized, but I think 20 and 18,
these are the most common. 18, 20, and 22, I'd say even.
And the new Rolex as well is
21.
21. So it's a little bit different. And obviously that means that because a lot of strap manufacturers, they've stuck to 18, 20, 22. Maybe up to 24 for certain watches, for Panerai and other watches. But how do we feel about, I mean, clearly, do you think that this is brands expressing that they would rather you go to them for OEM straps and kind of, because obviously it narrows how much is available.
Yeah, but I also believe it's a design thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
That at Cartier and also Jaeger and Patek, I think they made a certain design for the case and the lugs.
Right. Proportions.
Yeah, proportions. So I think 17 or 19 is then just a bit nicer than 18 or 20.
Yeah.
I don't think they use these odd sizes to lure you into buying these straps. I think someone with a Patek will buy a Patek strap anyway in 80% of the cases.
That's true.
And anywhere now suppliers
they make everything.
Providing,
Now
they start to
provide in our
everything.
shop. So we for certain
we have strap widths.
Yeah, we have from 18 to 22, I think, and everything in between. What I do find weird is then if you go like 20.5 or 21.5,
that is
a
weird.
bit strange.
It is a little bit weird.
But that really limits you in possibilities.
You can still put a whether bigger or lightly slimmer NATO strap on them.
Yeah.
But then you have a gap, or then it's like a little bit stuck in, or I don't know. It's not great.
But that's straps. But I think for bracelets, to go back to
going back to bracelets,
I think for a lot of watches, and perhaps especially micro brands, but I also see it at bigger brands, a bracelet often seems to be an afterthought.
Yeah.
And
again, Grand Seiko.
No, I don't think. That's a design thing. I think the quality is really good.
The finishing, but then it misses a couple of things for the price that they ask for a watch.
Yeah, perhaps. I think the quality is really good. On the divers watches, I feel their diving extension is a bit not up to modern standards.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could be better.
But the quality is good. And that's what I feel with certain brands. And as I said, especially micro brands, it's an afterthought. So they just sourced a standard bracelet from a catalog somewhere. And that's a bit of a pity. And I think if you do it really well, I think it's very costly. Like if you look at the Bulgari Octo Finissimo, for example, that bracelet is awesome.
Oh yeah, how the butterfly clasp is like
also
there's
the shape
a cutout
of the
on the
links
bracelet,
and how it wears. It's super
inside.
comfortable. And I had a discussion with the designer Fabrizio from Bulgari. He said, often it's an afterthought. But if you really want to design a proper bracelet, it's so expensive and it's so time consuming.
And they also say about that watch that this is the piece that makes them. That takes them the most effort because it breaks really. It can break like the one made. I think it's the one made in carbon. Because at some point it's so slim that they had problem. They had issue with the finishing of the product. That's also what makes the price because having that bracelet done and working, it's really tricky.
But it's also not impossible for brands to iterate and improve. I mean, Omega did an incredible job with that new Speedmaster bracelet.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And there were some teething issues, and then now they added this slide micro adjust, which is really great. And I think that really gives some hope. Hopefully, they'll do something with the Seamaster bracelet, which now feels a little bit anachronistic. Yeah. It's a little bit stuck in the past. There's no taper, and maybe people also like it, but I personally find it a little bit chunky. I actually almost prefer the slight taper on the OEM bracelet for the 2254. But then obviously you don't have any micro adjust.
But that's also a design thing, I feel. That's taste. And I think that rumors are that there will be something new because the current Seamaster is already 6 years old.
Yeah.
But I feel often the bracelet is an afterthought. And in terms of design at least, And that's a bit of a pity. And quality-wise, you can go for third-party options, but you really need to be careful. As you said, there are some very cheap alternatives out there.
Yeah.
But if you have the ones from Uncle Seiko, and I think the Forstner bracelets, the today's ones, I think they're quite good for the money.
Yeah, for the money, I think it's good.
We also enjoy the what is it, the Serica? It's from Serica and Joseph Bonney, this bong clip thing. It's nice. It obviously it feels like you're wearing your watch on a chain of paper clips, but there's something to it. It can be quite nice. I tend to not put it on my more expensive watches, although sometimes it goes on the Speedy.
I already did it. I know you don't like it, but
on the Hamilton, I put it on the Hamilton as well sometimes. The khaki Field Auto, and it's a good look. It feels comfortable, and it's very, very easily adjusted and everything. So that can be also quite nice. But like you said, designing a good bracelet, we've seen it firsthand with Thomas and VPC. Because we sit there as he is sometimes talking with suppliers and he tells us about the process that he's gone through, and it's a nightmare. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes when it comes to trying to argue for, hey, you tighten the tolerances and you need to make the minimum number of removable links. You have to change this.
But then you have a good product.
But the good thing is he is making the effort, and he is butting heads with these guys constantly to try and get the best quality. But when you do see how far you have to go to get a good product, obviously then you understand that brands cheap out. But at the same time, and sorry, I'll let you talk in a sec. But you see micro brands that do a great job. They have a one side screws, kind of like on your Speedmaster, and you see brands like Seiko, which are huge brands, and they're still using pin collar. And you could say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, it would be really nice to see Seiko add a bit of a toolless micro adjust, add one-sided screws. Obviously, this will come at a cost, but I think that at this point, where even the most micro of brands has these features, the watch is costing like $500-600. I think that you could expect that from a 1,000-2,000 euro Seiko, maybe.
True. Yeah, the pins never failed on me, and bracelets that use screws failed on me in the past.
Oh, okay.
Various brands.
Yeah, they can rattle out a little bit, right? Yeah. Like with vibrations, the screw comes out. Yeah,
but I think there's a lot of effort. There can be a lot of improvement. There are a lot of improvements to be made by brands, and not only by the micro brands, but also the big brands.
Yeah.
I also have to say, I recently did a bit of a test drive with a Breitling Chronomat.
Oh, that bullet bracelet is nice,
and that's awesome. I think the old bullet bracelets from the 80s, they were not that good, I feel.
This one feels solid.
Yeah, and those didn't, but
solid.
This feels really solid. Wears very it's heavy, but it wears comfortable, and it's among the very nicest bracelets I've ever worn. And I think Rolex does an amazing job with bracelets. Whether it's the Jubilee, the Oyster that I'm wearing today, or the Precedent, I think they're all good.
But that's the thing I was about to say. Like brands like Breitling with the bullet bracelet, or Omega or Rolex with the Oyster bracelet. I mean, they keep the same design but improve it. Like let's say you have probably Olo end links. Maybe not you. Yeah, maybe on the one you have here.
No, I don't think so.
That's solid at some point, those bracelets used to be like really distorted, like really. Really bigger, let's say, because all the links will be like
they sort of stretch
further. That stretch out, and they keep the same thing and make them way more sturdy, way more solid.
For sure,
and keeping the same thing, even for the clasp. Even if I do like your clasp a lot on that one, like the
made from Coca-Cola cans,
the stamped Coke, the stamped clasp.
But it's.
I mean, this is now dated for what.
But it never
standards, but no. I mean, I had one also, and nothing happened to. Yeah. But I like the fact that they have cool design, and they will just work on them to make them better.
Absolutely.
And I'd rather have that, or I'd rather have like a nice leather strap instead of a cheap catalog bracelet that we found on countless watches.
So that's a bit of a thing. So if you look at micro brands that use like a bracelet just off the shelf, they source from somewhere that is cheap. I would rather have them using a very nice leather strap or rubber strap than a very cheap steel bracelet for the sake of having a steel bracelet.
Look at Studio Underdog. That those watches are well under 1,000, and they use straps from a UK-based strap manufacturer called the Strap Tailor, and those straps are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're really, really nice. The quality is fantastic. They're very comfortable, no break-in, and the watch is not super expensive.
Yeah.
but the strap is really, really nice. So it is possible for brands that you really see where the decision making then lies in brands that really take the time to give these options and to go the extra step to ensure that their watch comes on a strap that's worthy of it, basically. So
and I think it's easier for a brand to have a nice leather strap or a nice rubber strap than making their own bracelet. Because I think it's tricky.
No, it's also a matter of price, because I think if you do it really properly, like I said with Bulgari, it's a very costly operation. So the bracelet will add so much to the price of the watch that I feel that not a lot of people would be willing to spend that much, especially when it's a smaller micro brand or lesser known brand, to spend that much.
But then it makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
So I think it's, again, we finish with a bit of a mixed feelings. So I think that there is a place for cheap or affordable straps on expensive watches. I think NATOs are kind of one of the main exceptions to be made. Leather, not so much. Rubber, well, it depends. There can be some affordable rubber options that are solid, but I think, of course, people should always try and be a little bit careful. See what other people's opinions are like. We've done a ton of strap reviews on Fratello, so you can check those out. And then, just buy from a trusted source. If there's a strap brand that's been around for years and years and years, it's probably for good reason. It's probably not because people's watches are falling off their wrists, right? So I think that, but for the most part, it is best to buy less at higher quality.
I prefer,
and give your watch the strap that it deserves.
But we all agree.
Exactly.
We all agree in the end.
Yeah. But I still like the cheap straps.
I don't.
I still. This was $13, man. I love it. This is one of my favorite NATOs. It's 13 euros. But hey, that's I like to live life on the edge that way. Perfect. Let's get to our comment of the week from last week. So this was obviously on the topic of buying and selling and trading watches with no regrets.
No regrets.
And it's from Mr. Paradigm 1981. And he said, I just traded one of my favorite watches to get one for my wife. That one hurt. It was an old Daytona that I bought with a discount and kept throughout the hype, but at least it went for a good cause.
Very good.
Yeah, a noble gesture, and hopefully the wife enjoys her new watch. But chapeau to Mr. Paradigm.
Yes,
excellent. Well, thank you guys very much. Thank you, Morgan, again, and of course all the best for you in this new chapter in your life, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back around if you're ever in town.
Yeah, for sure.
But thanks. Obviously, always, to our audience for listening, for tuning in. And as always, leave a comment, leave your opinions. Do you wear your watches on cheap straps like I do? These guys don't.
No,
these guys
RJ never do.
RJ never does. That's very true. But leave your thoughts in the comments. And as always, tune in next week for another episode of Fratello Talks. See you then.